Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fire Up. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Man Mouth tonight because I have no voice. You might as well call me the mild mouth, but nevertheless, it works. I'm pleased to be joined by a new crew that will be running the Fire Up show. Myself, George Eichhorn. Welcome back, George.
Good to be back. Thank you.
Jeremy Bulreck
Yes, sir.
and Mr. Pittsburgh, Ralph Williams. Welcome
Thank
to the
you.
show.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be back. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let me just go ahead and let everybody know that Fire Up is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of this Fire Up can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. Just participate in the chat room is one way to do it. Send topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Our website is www.southflorida.com. Excuse me, www.southfloridatribune.com. Okay, a little bit tongue-tied there. Our Twitter information is at Tribune South. Candy Ebling is behind the scenes. Also coming up later this summer, the Motor City Mad Mouse Show will be debuting on the Eagle Accord Media Studios in Boca Raton, Florida, owned by Dr. Edwin Hernandez. We'll keep you posted. The Eagle Corp is a technology-based company. And also, I am writing a book, and that's Adjusting the New Media, and I'm working diligently to hopefully get it out in the next month or so. With that said, okay, we're going to let Jeremy Bulreck take over the show. Jeremy, go, have at it.
All right, our first topic tonight. Mike Tomlin admitted to reporters he's getting a little thin as far as a head coach is with his time in the league. And it could be a couple of things, but I'm going to defer to Ralph right here and get his opinion on Mike Tomlin.
Well, you know what, Jeremy and George and Scott, Mike Tomlin has been a coach for a long time. He's been around since 2007. He has one of the longest tenures in the NFL as a head coach, other than Bill Belichick, probably. So what I'm saying is it's time for Mike Tomlin to step away. Bill Cowher stepped away, went into broadcasting. Tomlin will probably do the same thing. He has friends in high places, Tony Dungy and all that. So, if he goes away, that's fine. The Steelers will come up with a new coach. They need to get. I think they need a new flavor of a coach, and it's time for a change. I think. I know Mike Tomlin has done well in the eyes of most people, but in the eyes of some people in Pittsburgh, he hasn't won enough Super Bowls or championships to justify that. And of course, Bill Cowher lost a lot of AFC championship games as well. But Tomlin, his record speaks for itself. I mean, I can't complain about that. But right now, he doesn't have an assistant coaching staff that I feel is capable of, leading his team to a championship. And some of the guys he has are guys that are, second tier assistant coaches and not top notch like he's had before. And he had a few of them and he ran them out. He had Mike Munchak, he had Bruce Arians, and he ran him out. And he had Todd Haley. Todd Haley's a good coach, even though he's a miserable jerk. But he's a good he's a good assistant coach. So I mean, and he ran out a lot of great coaches, and now he's got a bunch of yes men, and we're going to see where it goes from here.
George?
Yeah, I was surprised when I found out. I didn't think he was that young. He's only 51 years old still. He's done a terrific job with the Steelers. But you're right. You brought up a good point, Ralph. They won the one championship, Super Bowl, and then they faced, I think, Green Bay 2 years later, but they lost to the Packers. And other than that, it's losing wild card game, losing in the first round, losing, the divisional round, whatever. Loss after loss. You're right. He has not produced. He's produced a winning product, but not a winning playoff product.
Exactly.
And I certainly can understand the Steeler fans being a little bit concerned. We had a guy in Detroit, Jim Caldwell, who they were never happy with his performance, even though he was a couple games above 500, 2 or 3 games above 500. He had a much shorter leash. Tomlin has gotten a lot longer leash, obviously. Okay, with the Rooneys, of course he has. All this is saying you're close to the situation, Ralph. I respect your opinion, and I know that Mike's a great guy, but you're right. I think it is time for the Steelers to move on.
Yes, it is. And it's getting to that point right now. We have certain players that keep fooling around on social media that he doesn't control. He's got the AB situation, Antonio Brown, the Juju Smith-Schuster situation, and then finally they had to get rid of Chase Claypool because and admitted they were wrong for drafting him when they did. But it was nice because the trade we got with Chicago, we ended up with Joey Porter Jr. like a first-round pick, and so that came out to be okay. I like the new front office with Omar Khan and Andy Weidel from the Philly Eagles. Andy is from this area. He grew up in Pittsburgh, and he's happy to be back. Steelers paid him a lot of money to bring him here. He was an assistant GM and recruiting coordinator and whatnot with Philly. And, I talked to some people and friends of mine in Philly close to the situation, and they said, we got a gem in Andy Weidel.
All right, Scott, what do you think about the situation?
Well, I always hate to see a guy like Mike Tomlin go. He's a sign of stability. He's really never had a losing season, and he makes a lot out of nothing. So you hate to see him go, but it's inevitable. A change could be in order.
Yeah, exactly, Scott. I agree with you on that too. I think we all agree that change is in order. Jeremy, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you if you were trying to talk.
Yeah, we got to kind of keep it rolling because we got topics to get through.
Yeah,
but
sure.
My opinion is Mike Tomlin's been one of the best coaches in the regular season for you guys. A lot like Caldwell, Gary Moeller, and now the way Dan Campbell is turning around Detroit. You're seeing that type of thing with Mike Tomlin his entire time there. And that's where it eludes me on why some of the fans want him gone, because it's not always greener on the other side. That's all I got to say, because you could end up with like a Matt Patricia era. Okay, yeah. And let's get into and there is Smoking Dad coming in saying hello, gentlemen.
Hello,
Good to see you, Dad.
Oh, Smoking Dad, there you
go. Yep, that's my dad there, and probably where I learned how to smoke. But anyways,
I'll say, Jared, just let everybody know that Jeremy's a jack of all trades. Okay, all I'm doing tonight is posting the comments, and you get to read them. How's that sound?
No problem. Second topic, I wanted to ask you, Raph, personally, what news do you hear coming out of camp? What's good? What's bad? Has there been injury concerns? Any of that?
At this moment, no injuries today. They have what they call the gassers. They make them run all over the place for, a day or whatever. And, it's like an obstacle course. Now, I know today Kenny Pickett started off his first play with a long pass downfield to George Pickens. So I do know that. Patrick Peterson came up with a couple plays. We're going into camp here with a lot of battles. We have battles on the offensive line. We have battles at the cornerback position in the defense. We have battles all over and across every position this year. The front office has brought in some great free agents, and I think the Steelers had a wonderful draft this year. And they brought in some guys that can compete, and they wanted to get meaner, they wanted to get faster, and they wanted to get better at both lines of scrimmage, and they did that with both the draft and the free agency. Now let's see if it can be coached to win. So there we are.
So what do you think about what you just heard there, George?
Well, the one thing that stands out, Jeremy, I think, and Ralph and Scott, competition. That's not all bad, is it?
No,
you got competition for the positions that you've described, and any training camp, if it's worth its weight in gold, it's always fun to watch and observe the competition going on for starting positions, for backup positions, for kickers, whatever it is. Sometimes even for quarterback, but not very often. Or backup quarterbacks a lot. But yeah, Ralph, I mean, I think your observation was good, because competition is good, and the Steelers have done some work on the offseason. Detroit did a lot of work on the offseason, improving their defense. And now you got a situation where, hey, let's just we on the outside say, let's have fun. But I know it's all work for those guys. And it's a terrific opportunity for some kid, especially some of the unknowns, the unheralds, to work their way into the starting rotation, or at least in a backup position. So that's what I'm hearing. That sounds good. I mean, if you're a Steelers fan.
Right. Well, I got one more thing to add here. I think personally in the NFL, we have the best three quarterbacks in the league. Right now we have Kenny Pickett, we have Mitch Trubisky, and now we re-signed Mason Rudolph. We have three good, experienced quarterbacks. So if anybody goes down, somebody can play. And then we got this Tanner Morgan that we brought in as an undrafted free agent from Minnesota Golden Gophers, and he's supposed to be a reasonably decent quarterback. Didn't get drafted, but you know what? We brought him in. He's going to be on the practice squad. I think that it's going to work perfect for the quarterback situation.
All right, Scott, what do you think about what you heard?
Well, the only thing I'll say is Ralph hit it on the head. When you have three good quarterbacks like that, they're in a much better position than most teams. We're looking to have two, and everybody at this time of the year is always looking to find that veteran signal caller if you can get. So I'm with you all the way, Ralph.
Thank you.
And Smoking Dad just put in a comment there, and he says, in my opinion, I think Pickett is going to be a good one. The only thing that concerns me is the only problem he had a little bit in college was the same thing that Goff had with his smaller hands, and that's why he wears two gloves. He's the new Teddy Two Gloves. It's because of that small hand. He needs the extra grip on the football.
He needs the extra
Say
grip,
what you
right?
want. Say what you want, but that does lead to more fumbles, which he did struggle with at times in college.
Yes, he did. Yes.
So,
I watched him at Pitt, so I agree with you on that, Jeremy.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Other than that, I think Kenny Pickett is a smart QB. I think he's a good pocket passer that knows how to move the pocket rather than he doesn't read to run. He reads and then runs if he has to. And I think that's a great thing because I think that is where the athletic quarterback needs to go to.
Well, he has a lot of guts, Jeremy. I mean, I watched him when he first played in the Jets game. I mean, we would have lost that game by a ton. And he came in and scored points, and he was gutsy. He ran the ball when he had to, like you said, and everything else. That's what I like about him. He's a gutsy kid. He's not afraid to make the play he needs to make, and he'll do it himself if he has to. And, any team would want a quarterback like that.
Tanner Morgan is kind of the same level of athleticism as Kenny Pickett is versus Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph.
I agree with you on that.
Mason Rudolph is tough. Mitch Trubisky's tough, as you know, because he played for Chicago forever, and you have to be tough to play for that team with their O-line. But let's go on to the next one.
Well, go ahead, Jeremy.
Go ahead. What was the good news?
I was going to say the good news is Mitch Trubisky had an opportunity to have a year under Brian DeBoe up in Buffalo. So, he was as a backup quarterback, and then he backed up Josh Allen up there. So, he got to have that experience as well. So that's the good news. Brian DeBoe is a great offensive mind.
Great. Okay, and let's roll on to the next topic, which is the Pittsburgh Pirates started off so hot, and it seems like they fell back to earth almost as fast as they started off hot. What happened?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. The manager, Derek Sheldon, some of his decisions have been horrible, horrible lineups, horrible taking pitchers out in the third inning, after they score one run, pulling the switch too quick on pitchers, horrible bullpen. It's just been a mega problems, Jeremy. Injuries, Key Brian Hayes. I almost said Charlie Hayes. That's his son. But Key Brian Hayes hurt. He's now doing his rehab stint. Ji-Man Choi has been hurt since April. He just came back. We've had some guys down. O'Neal Cruz, our starting shortstop. So injuries is included in that. Vince Velasquez, a great starting pitcher we had. He was doing real well, good veteran presence. And then all of a sudden he got hurt and he had to bring rookies up from the minors. I don't have a problem with rookies. I don't have a problem with draft picks. I have a problem with their experience. And, if they don't, it's a whole different, it's like cooking macaroni and cheese and making a gourmet dinner. You know what I mean? Your macaroni and cheese in the minor leagues, but then you come to the majors, you're supposed to be a gourmet dinner. And that's not the case. And these kids got to learn, but it's sad that the Pirates waved the white flag after the All-Star game, and they're telling everyone they didn't. And I know they did because you can see they did. And, now they're bringing up all these guys. I don't have a problem with that. These young guys need to learn. But I think that the Carlos Santana trade today, I think was awful. I've been making jokes all day that they got this 18-year-old shortstop and 1 in 15 pitchers and a janitor because they're good at making them kind of trades. So, I mean,
I like it. Okay, George, what do you think about what happened with the Pirates there?
Boy, I tell you what, that's a good line, Ralph.
That's a good one, George.
That sounds like our friend, the former GM Al Avila, would make that kind of trade. All kidding aside, a lot of those blunders, as you know, when Detroit gave away so much of its rich talent. But I understand what you're saying. The young players, there's too many of them that are being rushed up to the major leagues too quickly nowadays. We've seen it in Detroit with a fellow named Spencer Torkelson, the first baseman. And a lot of injuries. I know these kids are getting injured a lot. A lot of the things that you hit on, Ralph, are exactly what's happening in Detroit. The only thing I would say differently is AJ Hinch, if anything, he leaves those starters in too long. Example today, Manning, 7 runs, really? I mean, we knew the second game of the doubleheader, they lost both, by the way, to our listeners. The Tigers took a dive today. They lost all 3 games to the Angels at home. All I'm saying is that, a lot of the things that you mentioned are the same kind of things that are happening here in Detroit. They haven't waved the white flag yet, but off the air, I was telling you guys, I think it is going to happen now after they lost 3 in a row. We'll see how they do down in Miami. Scott and Candy, I know, are going to cover that series, and that should be a fun time. Cabrera is going to be honored as he deserves. And that should be, but I think after that, obviously the trading deadline is midnight on Monday night. So I know what you're going through, Ralph, but you're absolutely right. I mean, your team has struggled for years and years, and there was that glimmer of hope at the beginning of the season for the Pirates. I was happy for them. I've always liked your franchise. It's always been a good franchise, But anyways, to answer your question, Jeremy, I like the points that Ralph brought up.
Well, one other thing I want to bring up, I'm very disappointed in the front office. Ben Cherington, I know what he did in Boston. He brought them up from nothing to the World Series, and I thought he was going to do, and he laid the law down on Bob Nutting. Look, I'm not taking this job if you're going to be a ball buster, and he told Nutting, I'm not taking this job. And Nutting said, I'll stay behind. The only time you need to come and see me is for money. And Bob Nutting has paid out to Ke'Bryan Hayes, Brian Reynolds. He signed some guys to big contracts. So I can't say he hasn't done anything. Nutting. It's Ben Cherington. I don't know where he got this trade at today. This is another Neil Huntington trade. And Neil Huntington was good at making these boneheaded trades, trading guys and getting nothing for it. I don't know anything about this 18-year-old shortstop we got. And what, they're going to put him in there and play him because O'Neal Cruz is still hurt? I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what they're going to do. But I added the 1 in 15 pitchers. That was a joke. So,
Scott, how do you feel about how Ralph described the Pittsburgh situation?
Well, the bottom line is it's a very the trade that they made Carlos Santana is a very unpopular trade. It goes back to fire sale territory, Pittsburgh 101. I mean, it's like, and the only thing I want to know about, Ralph, is what about Andrew McCutchen? Has he been talked about being moved or not?
Yes. There's rumors going around that he's going to be moved, but the rumors are not true. McCutchen has to make that decision. He doesn't want to go. His family's here. He likes Pittsburgh. He's not even worried about winning a World Series. He just wants to stay here, finish his career here. He's been content with that. People have been saying all this stuff about, he wants to be traded. Texas wants him. I heard they're not even thinking about trading him.
Kenny Ebling says as a Brewers. Hold on.
As a Brewers fan, glad we don't go.
Yeah, you do get it.
She's on the right end of the trade deadline, not the wrong end.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, Eric Dalton is a good friend of mine. We met at Family Fun Fest face-to-face last year, and he's sad that there's no Family Fun Fest because he doesn't get to see my dad, which is one of his favorite. He calls him Dad, too.
Right.
That being said, I feel your pain. But this rebuild was partially before Al Avila got here because of what Dave Dombrowski did to get everybody on the roster to try and shoot for a World Series before Mr. Elich died. He emptied our prospect pool, just wiped it out.
Yep.
Trading away for everybody. And then we had all those bloated contracts, and Al Avila got stuck trying to make something out of nothing with no money to spend under the luxury tax, because Chris Ilitch, once Mr. Ilitch said, we're not spending that much money.
Yeah, there
Wow.
was that situation. You're absolutely right,
So
Jeremy.
it's partially Al Avila's fault, but I blame it more on Dave Dombrowski emptying out our prospect pool.
Well, Dave Dombrowski, Jeremy, he's been a dud everywhere he's gone. Except for the Marlins. I mean, I mean the team he put together for Jim Leland, I could have managed that team. Scott and the whole panel here, we all could have managed that team.
Well, he won in
Right,
Boston
because-
too, Ralph.
Yeah.
Now you could
exactly.
make a case that wasn't his team either because he was only
Right.
there. But
Right.
you got to give him credit for winning at the Red Sox.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
World
yeah.
Series.
He did that. But,
Yeah.
but a lot of places he's been, George, he's been a dud. I mean, he really hasn't done. And the Pirates were going to hire him when they needed a GM. They were
Oh, were
looking
they?
at him. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
that too. So
Right.
rolling on, my opinion is we feel your pain.
I'm glad I'm not the only one other than the Oakland or the Jokeland A's. I call them the Jokeland A's. So.
No, the Chokeland A's have been the Chokeland A's for a long time, but there for a minute from the late 80s through the 90s, they were one of the top franchises when they had the Bash Brothers, when they had all of that going on. It was such a great thing.
Billy Ball.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, let me interject here. Eric Dalton, good for you, Jeremy. I love your expanding horizon to baseball. I know you're a sports fan. Also, let me add to that, Eric, that Jeremy Volrek will be on next week's edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. I believe we're going to be doing that one on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. The only one we're moving next week will be Inside the Pigskin. I believe that'll be to next Thursday night before Ralph's show. So we'll go from there.
Okay.
So, but I'm glad you brought that up, Eric. Thanks for putting that up there.
Thank you.
That being said, is Paul Skeens the savior for Pittsburgh? What do you think, Ralph?
Yeah. I think Paul Skeens is the savior if they don't keep him in the minors for 10 years. Okay. I mean, if they bring him up, maybe if he's developed enough next year or in the year after that, I have no problem with Paul Skeens. But I have a problem when you draft a guy like that and you keep him in the minors for 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 years, and then you bring him up and then he's wasted. Okay. They need to bring him up as fast as possible. They need to get him moving and get him up here. He is the savior. I think he's another Randy Johnson. He's a tall guy. He can pitch hard, and I like him. And it was a good pick. We picked a bunch of pitchers with arms in this draft, and I believe that Paul Skeens is for real. But it depends on what the Pirates do with him. I mean, if they keep him down there for too long and then bring him up, it's not going to work. They're going to have to bring him up.
I say they bring him up after 3 seasons to see if he's got any injury concerns.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me add this, Eric. I appreciate the kind words. Please, Eric, subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, and you'll get all the updates when Jeremy's on, which seems like it's all the time anyway. So please hit the subscribe button, South Florida Tribune. Eric can go from there. Well, you can laugh. Jeremy's done a heck of a job.
I know. I'm just laughing because it's great to know, Jeremy's a good guy on here.
Well, I know.
All
Hey,
I got to say is I've been on the South Florida Tribune channel this summer more than I've been on my channel.
Well,
there you go.
well, you know what? I don't want to sound like I'm cocky with what little voice I have, but I recruit losers anyway, so I'll leave it at that.
I know that. Hey, I'll take that.
You get it. But I'm not.
Okay,
but the hat
George,
stays on.
What do you think about
One
the Paul
pitcher
Skeens
is not
thing?
going to save your franchise, Ralph. Number one. And number two, no, they're not going to keep him in the minors all those years that you said. Come on now, Ralph. You know that.
No, I know that, George, but I mean, I'm just saying.
Don't exaggerate. They're not going to keep him there that long. And I'll give you another thing, Ralph. You ever hear of Casey Mize? You hear of Matt Manning?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what we've gone through here in Detroit?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, these pitchers are not always diamonds in the rough. Sometimes they have rubber arms or whatever causes them pain. All I'm saying is,
Elbows.
and I know you guys got a great guy there, and the fact that he played in college, I think, is a plus because, a lot of teams go for the high school kids. And you're right; those take longer to get developed. But no, you got a good guy. I mean, this kid. What did they give him? Over $9 million, Ralph?
Yeah, they gave him $9 million,
Yeah,
so
that's a lot of money. And I know what you're saying, though. I just hope that. I hope that again. I've said it before. You don't want to rush these kids, but I do agree that you don't want to take too long either. Pitchers, you can never have enough pitching. And that was one of the things the Tigers, obviously, when you talk about picking up the pieces from Dombrowski, that they learned the hard way. Even though they took all these pitchers, so many of them have already had Tommy John surgery. It's a shame, but I wish him the best of luck, and I wish your franchise too.
Yeah, it's a mix of everything. It's pitching and fielding and everything else. It's not all just pitching, you know. So if we can get him some help, I think he'll be okay.
Well, what's the age-old adage? Hitting is timing and pitching is upsetting timing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I know because I played that sport.
There you go. I played Little League. That's as far as I went.
Oh, I want Jeremy's face on a pillowcase. Jeez.
Eric says that. I think he made a mistake. Michael Fulmer is your perfect example, George. Eric Dalton said. I apologize. You're right, Eric. I forgot about Michael Fulmer. And anyway, but they put him into a situation now, which was nice, good for him, because they moved Fulmer, as you know, into the relief role. But then, of course, the Tigers let him walk, let him go.
Right. Yeah, we just let a couple guys go. We let Crow go, Will Crow. He was a good starting pitcher. Derek Sheldon, when he took over, put him in the bullpen, and he stunk. But he was a good starting pitcher. Will Crow.
The one that I hated that they got of was Craig Kimball, your closer. That guy was amazing, and he's still doing good now, this many years after being in Pittsburgh. They should have re-signed him, because when you got a guy, anytime you got a 3-game lead and can come in the 8th inning and close the game out, you keep those guys.
I have a question for you guys for Detroit. Is Chris Archer still with you guys? I heard he was with Detroit for a little while. Is that true?
I don't know.
Not for like a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And a blink of an eye. Okay, yeah.
He didn't. I don't think he made it past spring training or a month after, because he just.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
He wasn't
anything.
cutting it.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do well here, and that was a trade Huntington wanted to make to please the fans, because the fans were looking for a nice trade to get somebody in here, and we got rid of Tyler Glasnow, who actually is a really good pitcher with Tampa Bay. And then we got rid of that Austin Meadows, who became an all-star in an outfield. So, you know, and then we decided to keep a couple guys that didn't work out.
Yeah, well, you heard what happened to Meadows, didn't you?
Yeah.
With the Tigers. Yeah. 2 years in a row he's been on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we just got rid of a guy, Travis Swaggerty. He was one of our number 1 picks. We just got rid of him, but his wife has cancer. He was going to get out of baseball anyway. His wife's got cancer. Chad Kuhl, former Pirate with Washington, just got out of baseball. His wife's sick. So, got some guys who have been doing that. So,
all right. Candy Ebling says, great show. Thank you very much, Candy. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Candy.
And we were going to do it as a topic, but Ralph already gave his opinion on that trade. The Carlos Santana trade.
Yeah.
So he kind of beat us to the punchline.
He did.
Sometimes
he's on top of his Pittsburgh stuff. Hey, listen, we're breaking him in easy. It doesn't get this easy, Ralph, every week. You only get a parting shot on your Pittsburgh stuff. But tonight, because yours truly is hoarse, okay, doesn't have much of a voice, although Jeremy doing a dynamite job.
Yes,
I didn't want to come up with topics, and Jeremy wanted to bring you in easy with your Pittsburgh stuff. So you got 5 parting shots in one show, although we'll still let you have one more next week.
Thank you.
That being said, I want to say thank you to Ralph for coming in and being a part of the Fire Up Show, because going forward, it isn't going to be easy. We're going to have much hardball topics instead of these softball ones for you. These ones, I just looked at the headlines that were out there, and I put Pittsburgh sports headlines, and I came up with 3 topics. That's all I did. It may not be the greatest, but you know what? They're current, and it's stuff to talk about.
It is. You're right. You're absolutely right.
All right.
And I just wanted to add one thing on that Santana thing. My question, Ralph, he has bounced around the last several years. When you look, he's been in very different teams: Cleveland, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh, and now Milwaukee. I mean, he doesn't have any bad clubhouse stuff going on, does he?
I don't think he does. He's a leader, from what I understand. He hustles. He's a good defensive first baseman. I've seen him make some plays that I haven't seen any of our first basemen make in a long time. So I mean,
Mhm.
he his bat was a little. He was only batting 236. So I
Yeah.
mean, but still, he had 11 homers. And the problem with the Pirates too, they strike out too much. They lead the league in strikeouts, striking out at bat, and they lead the league in leaving men on base. They've done that for years.
Sounds like Detroit.
The
Yeah.
only thing I got to say about that trade is when did Carlos Santana quit playing guitar?
That's a good one. He decided to quit playing guitar and pick up a bat. There you go.
Because with the guitar, he bats 1,000. With the baseball bat,
Yeah, the Black Magic
he's
Woman.
only batting 276.
The Black Magic Woman.
Yeah,
I
but
couldn't
you're
resist
right,
that
Ralph.
one.
And Candy's right. You may have just, I think you guys may have just handed Milwaukee the division title because
Absolutely.
obviously he's going to go there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Whole
that
different
much.
atmosphere, whole
Yeah,
different way of playing. Yeah, he's gonna do well there.
yeah, and they've
Okay.
already been playing very well.
Kite Kitty.
Yeah, they
She
have.
says
And
that I need to give you my drink, George, because you look thirsty.
I still have some left.
There he goes. He's still got his water.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely. There you go.
but thank you very
Well,
much.
I
for
want to
that,
thank everybody for being so active in the chat. We got Kite Kitty, we got Exciter, Eric Dalton, Smoking Dad, and a slew of others that's popped in and out. Lions 1960, I believe, was in there too. Don't forget, guys, go over to the South Florida Tribune channel, subscribe,
Yes.
and have a great night. This has been Fire Up. That's Scott Morganroth. Tell everybody where they can find you, Scott.
All right, Jeremy, I got news for you. This guy did an unbelievable job being the lead
Yes.
man today. So,
Yes,
as
he
if
did.
you needed
Absolutely.
more responsibilities, be careful what you ask for. Ball rank, I feel very comfortable. Not that I ever did, but tonight was a great act with you. So, all right, Jeremy, you got the wheels turning, but I better get some sleep because of what you did tonight. Good stuff. All right. Well, with that said, although sleep to me is a luxury, anyways. Let me go over some information. We'll let everybody know how they get a hold of themselves. And just a moment, Fire Up is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of the show can be heard, that show being Fire Up, on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Let's come back just a little bit. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? Boy, the chat room was active. Maybe we have a guest or two in there.
Wow.
I don't know. But we'll let Jeremy make the call there. Send topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Got it right this time. Twitter @Tribune South. Candy Ebling wasn't only behind the scenes, but she was in the chat. Good stuff, Candy, as always. Coming up later this summer, the Motor City Mad Mouse Show will be debuting on Eagle at Court Media Studios in Boca Raton, Florida, owned by Dr. Edwin Hernandez. We'll keep you posted. He'll be my co-host. The Eagle Corp is a technology-based company and will be backing my book, Adjusting to New Media. So there you have it. All right, Jeremy, let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
Well, as you can see, you can actually find me right here on the South Florida Tribune channel any night that Scott needs me on YouTube. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions, where I cover the NFL on Wednesdays and the all Lions news from training camp on Fridays, including whatever clickbait sports puts out there, because I like the news stuff rather than the rumors. Then you can also find me on Let's Talk Sports or /Sideline Sports, doing my interviews with podcasters and former players on Fridays and Sundays. On Sunday mornings on the South Florida Tribune channel, you can find me on The Professor and the Pupil, which is mine and Scott's show.
Ah, there you go.
And you can also find my writings on the southfloridatribune.com.
Very good.
Does a great job of the writing, getting better. When you've been with me about a year, I'll tell you what, Jeremy, you have really improved as an editorialist. I know I read your stuff firsthand, and you've come a long way. I'm sure you won't take that for granted because I know you'll always strive to improve anyways. All right, Ralph, go ahead. Let everybody know.
Yeah, Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com. I have a Facebook page. You can reach me on LinkedIn, and you can also reach me on Twitter. I also have my own YouTube channel where I have a show called The Way I See It, Ralph Williams 1-on-1. and the uploaded radio edition of Sports Corner. I'm on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM, 1230 AM, 1460 AM, live on their Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also live on their website and their app, and also on my website, www.rwmedia.org.
Don't forget to let them know about your Saturday show too.
Oh,
Ralph.
that's right. And Thursday night, I do a show on Blog Talk Radio at 7:30 called Wrestle Talk. Mark Mancini, Bubba Brewer, and my co-host from Sports Corner, Smoking Jim Frazier. And then on Saturday, we do a External Bum podcast, also on Blog Talk Radio, with myself, Mark Mancini, Scott Morganroth, Joe Kuglis, or someone from Draft 412.
All right. Last but not least, the other author.
Do you have time to breathe at all, Ralph?
I try.
Oh my God. Yeah. Author. Yeah. I also write for the South Florida Tribune. There's a link at the end of my column to my book, Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. It's a nice little book there capturing the history of sports broadcasting in Detroit. Scott Morganroth is in the book too. He's doing a couple of great interviews with two great guys, Jimmy Connors and Muhammad Ali. But you also see some other surprise photos in there that you're going to love. And I'm not going to tell you who they are, but there's some great pictures in there of some celebrities and sports broadcasters. You can reach me at gicorn@yahoo.com. You can find me on the South Florida Tribune channel as well, with 108 Stitches and Sports Exchange and Fire Up shows, and wherever Scott needs me. And also, don't forget, you can reach me at Twitter at SandGSports99. Great being on the show with you guys again tonight. Thanks for having me.
Likewise, George. Been a while, but it's
good to see you,
Jeremy.
especially.
Well,
Ralph.
you guys just think about it. It may have been a while, Ralph, but now you guys get to see each other once a week. So at the same
Yes, we
time,
do. Absolutely. I'm so happy to be back here on this program with you guys.
Well, we're happy to have you, Ralph. I'm glad to be part of Mancini Media with Mark Mancini, and of course you as well. And it's a great reunion, and I'm so glad that we're there. I just am. You guys are quality people, and it's very good. I know, obviously, my voice came back to life a little bit later because Jeremy did the brunt of this show, but it doesn't hurt for me to be on the sideline a little bit, watching some good people talk sports, and that's what we have. And now another foursome. We can call ourselves the Fearsome Foursome as well. So on behalf of George Eichhorn, Jeremy Ballrek, Ralph Williams, my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Mild/Madmouth, saying that's at least for tonight only. Okay, saying thank you very much for joining us. Looking forward to seeing Miguel Cabrera here take on the Miami Marlins, the team over the weekend, for whom he helped win a championship. Jeremy, are you getting a signal? You want to say something?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would love to end this show the same way I end mine. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before, because that's the only way to leave the world a better place.
Well, that's all right. I have no problem with that message.
It is.
Yeah, that's a good message, and I'm glad we're going to leave on that note. So once again, everybody, thank you very much for joining us on Fire Up. We will catch you next week. Good night, everybody.